Yeah, I'm not sure if it was actually working. The fan wasn't blowing, but so I just started up again. As you can see, kind of how it's working, and it's not really sunny, but it's not too bad. So I don't have a great setup here. Let me turn the power off. I'll unplug it down here, and so it's just got a piece of cling wrap on the front there. I'll show you. So this is a cooling fan out of a server rack computer, actually. Probably not the best choice, but it's nice and small. And this is my board. So I think that runs off. The regulator will take up to 24, 30 maybe volts. Not sure how many amps, but probably 1 or 2. Let's move this over here so you can see it better. So there's the board with ESP 8266 plugged into it. This connector over here is a 4-pin header. That's what I was using it for was I2C, I2C, but I've put a pair of DES 18B20 temperature sensors on a daisy chain in there. So there's one up at the top there that's supposed to be the hot air inside, and one on the back here that's the outside. So they're coming in there. And then also the fan is plugged in here. So if I take the microcontroller off, not bending any pins. Let me put the phone down for a second. All right, so you can see things better in here. So the two rails that the ESP8266 plug into, there and there, 12 volt or more input. This is a really nice little. I got this in a pile of junk. Switching regulator that takes upwards of 30 volts and puts it down to 5 volts, and I'm sending that through a jumper here to the 5 volt input on the ESP8266, so you can power the board off that. If you're working on it, and this is important, if you're working on it, you want to send a new version of the firmware in through the USB port on the ESP8266. You plug the USB port in, and it's getting power from 12 volts in there. It's going to destroy things. So if you are going to program through serial port, you have to pull this header off. So take the little white header off. So that's something. Now you can't be sure that's going to work exactly the same when you do that, but that's the only safe way to program, I think. I don't know, maybe like Arduinos you can still program them through USB with external power supplied. It's got there's some voltage recognition switching to handle that, but I'm not sure these things do that. Okay, so 4-pin header, you could, if you want to use this for something else, you could take those off and put, like I said, I2C on there. It's ground, 3 volts, and clock and data, I think, if you do I2C. I'll document that. In here, the data I/O pins 1 and 2, D1 and D2, go towards this header. So that's D1 and D2, I believe. And then D8 goes through these resistors to the small MOSFET here. and that switches the incoming voltage. So this fan is running off 12 volts. The board, by and large, is going down to 5 volts input, and then 3.3 volt signals is what the ESP8266 likes. But the load you're controlling can be 12 or whatever the MOSFET can handle, and whatever this switching regulator can drop down to 5 volts. So I think you're probably safe to go to 20 something like that, but I generally just stick with 12. Okay, so I'll send off these 2 videos and a description of the software.